Months of campaigning and millions of dollars, all boiling down to tomorrow. What would it mean to the economy if Senator Barack Obama becomes our next president? Peter Schiff, president of Euro Pacific Capital, here and not pulling any punches. Peter, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, do you draw a distinction between Obama getting elected president and Obama getting elected president along with a much stronger majority for the Democrats in the Congress? Does that make any difference to you?
Well, I think if we have stronger Democratic control in Congress, which certainly looks likely, I think that's going to make matters worse, because not only does it make it easier for Obama to get his agenda through, but it also makes it easier for the Congress to get their stuff through. You know, there's no checks and balances whatsoever.
So I sense that you would not be happy with Obamonomics.
No, not at all. I mean, as an investor, it's probably going to help my clients out, but as an American, I think it's a disaster. Not that I'm a big pro-McCain supporter. I think McCain's policies would also make the situation worse, but unfortunately, I think we get Obama in there, and we get a much bigger mandate. I think when he comes into office, it's going to be as if, capitalism has been repudiated. The new mandate is we need more government. We tried capitalism. We tried greed.
Time out just a moment. Hasn't capitalism already been buried by Bush, Paulson, and Bernanke?
I think it has, but it's because of what the policies that they pursued. Remember, this economic disaster...
Yes.
Right, but no, it wasn't the free market. Remember, if it wasn't for the Federal Reserve, which is a government entity, keeping interest rates much too low, we never would have had a housing bubble. We never would have had a subprime market. We wouldn't have had teaser rates. If it wasn't for Freddie and Fannie, which were creatures of government, we wouldn't have had the moral hazards necessary to allow Americans to borrow more money than they can repay.
Well, wait a minute. Freddie and Fannie are responsible for less than a fifth of all the subprime mortgages.
No, but they were responsible for half of the mortgages, but they were also some of the bigger buyers. But they were big buyers of subprime. They helped create the market for subprime, but they also helped create the phony real estate market.
But hold on, here's where I'm confused. We could argue over Fannie and Freddie, but people on both sides of the aisle were responsible for creating them, building them, encouraging them. There's plenty of blame to go around. But you're talking about Obamonomics being bad. You're saying, and you're talking about misguided attempt to control inflation through price controls. Obama hasn't said anything about price controls.
Well, what they want to do is they want to return the economy to the way it was a few years ago. But you can't. That was a bubble. I've been talking about that for years, that our economy was phony because it was based on us borrowing money from abroad and spending it.
What specifically is he going to do that makes you worried as an American?
He's going to try to revive that bubble economy. He's going to try to get Americans spending money and borrowing again. And that's the disease. That's not the cure. He's going to try to create bigger government. He's going to try to borrow a lot more money from foreigners to spend it on government programs designed to encourage even more consumption. And of course, he's going to raise taxes on the very people that we need to try to provide the future employment opportunities for all the people who are going to lose their jobs during this contraction. And, when we have higher taxes on the people who are going to create jobs, we're actually going to end up getting less tax revenues. We're going to have a bigger government deficit. We could be looking at $1 to $2 trillion deficits during the Obama presidency.
And how's that different than McCain, who also wants to get banks lending again? I'm just confused here as to how this is specific to Obama.
I'm not in favor of McCain at all. Look, McCain's all wrong.
So it's not...
Remember, I supported Ron Paul. I mean, he was the only guy that was actually saying anything that was truly different.
Okay.
But the problem is going to be, he's going to come in, Obama, like for a New Deal. Like this is the 1930s and he's Roosevelt. The problem is we're already broke from the old New Deal. We can't afford the new one that we're going to get now. And this is going to be a much, much bigger government. I think the only positive that could come out of this whole fiasco is that the economy is going to be in such lousy shape 5 years from now. This recession is going to be so much worse at the end of his first term that maybe he won't have a second. And maybe we'll actually have an opportunity to elect somebody who will actually bring the reforms that we need, which is a dramatic reduction in the size of government. We need to abolish government agencies and programs. We need dramatic cuts in entitlement spending. We need to allow the market, the free market to function.
You're talking about something that is politically unacceptable to most people in this country.
If we don't cut entitlement spending, the entitlements are going to be worthless because the crisis that we are now setting up...
We'll just keep moving up the retirement age.
No, but we're setting up a collapse in our currency. When the dollar collapses, they're worried about... Look, what are the problems? Mark, they're worried about people going to the bank and not having money there. What I'm worried about is people going to the bank, taking out their money, but they can't buy anything.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Peter. I'm not. I think much of what you say has some truth to it. But what I am saying is what you're proposing is never going to fly politically.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, the politicians...
Well, then the problem is the voters.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. You know, just like Wall Street, we all accuse everyone on Wall Street. They were too short-sighted. All they can see was this year's quarterly profits so they can cash out their stock options. But politicians have a very short time horizon. They can only see to the next election. And all they care about is, here's a huge problem. How can we prevent it from blowing up before an election? And everything they do is making it worse. All the stimulus packages, all the bailouts that have passed thus far are making the underlying problem worse and setting up a much bigger disaster. What we need is some politicians that actually can care about the country and that can put their country's needs above their own political ambition.
They wouldn't get elected.
Well, you know what? That's the problem. That's the problem with democracy. I mean, that's why we're supposed to be a republic.
Well,
but that's a whole different debate.
You want a monarchy?
I'd like a republic. I'd like what our founding fathers intended. But, you know, that's...
What about, you know, an autocracy? That works some places around the world. Or
maybe we
managed
need
capitalism,
a military junta. I mean,
well,
come on, Peter.
Look, I mean, that's why, you know, we have mobocracy right now. We have the tyranny of the majority. But, you know, I think a lot of Americans, and I think there was some proof in that. Look, Ron Paul got a lot of supporters, even though the media ignored him. There are a lot of Americans, and if you tell them the truth, you know, they might be willing to buy it. I think if you tell people...
less than 1% of the vote.
Oh, I know, it's small. Look, there's a lot of people...
I understand that 51% is not a mandate. I mean, that there's 49% who think something else, and that's hard to say the 51 should get what they want and the 49 get nothing. I understand that criticism.
They're going to ride in like it is a mandate.
I just want to make something clear. You've now ventured into territory where I don't think what you're saying makes much sense.
Well,
okay.
Well, you're saying there's no hope there. You're saying our country is totally doomed.
I'm not saying that.
Because there is a major, major crisis coming. This is only the beginning, right? This credit collapse, you know, this is not the problem. The problem was that we borrowed trillions of dollars that we can't pay back. These are the consequences of the problem. But this problem has been building up over a generation.
So what do you buy? Gold?
Yeah, you buy this dip in gold, you sell this rally in the dollar.
You buy paper gold, you buy ETFs, or do you want the physical?
I like the real stuff. You know, we're selling a lot of...
Where do you get it now?
Well, we've been buying a lot of it in the Perth Mint in Australia. You know, we're storing a lot of gold over there. We had a record month at Euro Pacific Capital in clients just buying physical gold.
But gold has no inherent value, like oil, which does, right? People
gold
need oil. Gold only has value insofar as I want to believe it has value.
No, you got it backwards. That's fiat money. The dollar has no value except perception. Gold has real value. It's
in this
tangible.
world, all that has value is food and oil.
No, gold has value. Gold has
I love this guy.
This is a fun
He's provocative, if nothing else.
Yes, you are.
I disagree with you, but I love talking to you because sometimes it makes sense.
Fun.
Peter, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Peter Schiff.